Hello, and welcome to Conversations with Sara. It's been a while since we've talked, but I'm back at work now, and I thought it would be a good time to start doing videos again. This one will be a fairly short video. I wanted to expand a little bit on something we talked about in the emotional intelligence video, and that is realizing your own triggers, learning what it is that causes you to react the way you do under certain circumstances. This kind of came about when I was listening to a lecture on a behavioral health concept called trauma-informed care. And it is a concept that is used in behavioral health to flip the dialogue, to change the narrative from what is wrong with you to what has happened to you. And if you go to their website, which I will include a link to, and read more about it, you'll see that the whole idea is to sort of guide caregivers away from just being treatment providers to actually being healers, to realize that people come with a whole bunch of baggage or trauma from their past that has a deep effect over how they're behaving right now. And I thought about that, and I kept thinking, we all have some form of trauma. We've all had some experience in our lives that had a profound effect on us. I know that they'll say, 60% adults score at least one on the ACE test. ACE is Adverse Childhood Experiences, and that is also a website I can include a link for that has you take a good hard look at your childhood, and there's 10 different questions that it will ask all around trauma as a child. Now, not everyone is going to have the classic events that first come to mind: abuse, neglect. But there are things that have a profound effect on you that you may carry around with you. And if you can unpack that, if you can look at your life, look at some of the things that may have affected you, then that's a way to step up and step on beyond and learn how to build resilience, move away from that, and kind of put it in a package and say, yes, this happened to me, but this is the person I am today. Do a little self-care, do a little self-work. In witchcraft, this journey is called Shadowwork. Some people refer to it as facing your demons. If you are listening to this video, you are probably at a point in your life where you have faced your demons. You've come a long way, and you need to celebrate that and give yourself credit for that. You've come a long, long way. The person you are today is not the child you were, but emotionally you still can react as that child. And as I was thinking about this video, there's a song by Paul Simon that keeps running through my head. It's called Born at the Right Time. It's from his album, Rhythm of the Saints, and it's from 1990. It's an old album, but it's a wonderful song. It has a lovely little upbeat tune. But the words of the song, he's giving this fairy tale of a child that's born, that's never lied to, that has never wanted anything. Nothing's been denied to this child. This child's never lived in fear. Things that are a fairy tale. we would like to think that we do this for our children, but we can't. It's life. And we have been exposed to all those. All those things have happened to us. We may not have had an adverse event directly affect us, but we may have known someone who did. And if you go to the ACE website, you'll see, that they've recognized there's things beyond just those 10 events that they originally listed in the test, that there's societal things too. Growing up in poverty, growing up with racism, being LGBT, having a natural disaster occur. I think if you were to witness a violent act against someone, that would have an adverse effect on you as a child and could very easily shape the way you interact with others. So doing this introspection is good for you. It may be hard and painful for a little while, but on the other side, you're going to feel stronger from it. And it's okay to seek a mentor to help you through it. It's okay to reach out to a therapist to help you through it. If you're someone who scores a 9 or 10 on the ACE scale and you've been through some very, very traumatic experiences in your life, getting therapy is a wonderful avenue. We don't know what the other person's been through unless they tell us. But I think it's a good idea to always have in your head that they've probably been through something. One of the examples that was used in the lecture that I attended was around restraining patients. So those of you who watch this video that aren't in healthcare, I will say that restraining patients is something that we're trying very hard to get away from. It is a last resort. It is something that is done with the intention of keeping them from harming themselves. It's done with good intentions and absolute last resort. But one of the things that they said, when we restrain a patient who is pulling at their lines, pulling at their dressings, popping their stitches, thrashing around, potentially causing further harm, we tie their wrist and we tie their ankles to the bed. And it kind of bothered me a little bit that it was something that I never thought of. I always disliked restraints, and everywhere I've gone, I've always tried to say, hey guys, let's figure out a way not to use restraints. Let's see if we can get away from using restraints. But I never went that extra step to say, tying a patient's ankles to the sides of the bed, spreading their legs apart, has got to be a nightmare, is a nightmare for someone who has undergone sexual abuse. And it just sort of washed over me, this feeling of, oh my goodness. Because I've always known that restraining a patient never calms them down. No one ever says, oh, good, now I'm restrained. They fight against it. They're fighting against it. And putting it more with, well, you don't like being tied down? Well, here's why you don't like being tied down. So in this particular healthcare organization that I'm working with now, they have stopped tying the ankles to either side of the bed and are actually tying the ankles down to the foot of the bed so that the person's legs can stay together, and there's a little bit more of a dignity there and a little bit more of a thought. That drilled home to me that I myself am not looking at things with a trauma-informed concept. that I need to start opening my mind up more as to how would this be perceived with someone who has undergone trauma, someone who has had adverse things happen and occur to them. So that started this whole process. That started this whole thought through my head that, you know what, I need to share this with everybody. I need to get this idea out there so that you can do a little bit more exploring and you can start looking at your own life and your own thoughts, because we all have to help each other and we all got to get through this. And trying to understand where patients and our employees and our colleagues are coming from will go a long way to help us get through this crisis. COVID has brought out the best and the worst of us. And people are torn apart over this pandemic. And I myself really have very little understanding of how certain members of society, certain people out there, how they have come to the conclusions that they've come to, how they can sort of just disregard science and latch on to these theories and these ideas that the vaccine and the mask are what hurt you and that the virus is a hoax, and just these different things that are out there. It's very, very hard for me to understand where this is coming from and why people are holding on to this so tightly. And I'm hoping that maybe by sort of shifting my thought from what's wrong with you to what has happened to you, what has happened to these people who feel the way they feel, who are reacting to in this pandemic the way they're reacting. What has happened in their past to cause this type of reaction? That is how I'm going to be able to cope a little bit better. It's not as negative. I hope that it will help me and maybe possibly help you if we could start thinking, what has happened to you? Because it's tough. It's tough to be a bedside caregiver right now. And I feel very drawn and very, I'm not sure what the word I want to use is. I feel that I need to be here for the bedside nurses, and anything that I can do to help them, any support that I can give during this pandemic is where I need to be, because this is unprecedented in our lifetime. You know, we went through the AIDS panic, and we've been through a few things that we thought were going to turn really bad. Ebola, we thought was going to devastate us. Thank goodness it did not. But none of us have been through what we're going through right now. And it's very easy to lose compassion. Compassion fatigue is real. It's very easy for nurses to, and all caregivers, respiratory therapists, physical therapists, everyone, not just the nursing aspect of it, but all caregivers are physicians. It's very easy to become jaded, to lose that feeling of, I'm here for you, I want to take care of you, when there's so many people out there who absolutely don't want to take care of themselves. So I'm hoping that this will help, and I hope that it touches some of you and that you can do a little bit of digging and introspection, and that you will go to these websites and learn more about trauma-informed care. learn more about the ACE scoring, and it will help us collectively build resilience and strengthen our emotional intelligence, because I don't want to be hard-hearted and jaded in my practice. I want to be able to help. So thank you for listening. I'm happy to be back, and I look forward to doing more videos. Please let me know if there's anything that you're interested in hearing about or you want us to explore together. Just make a comment or send me a message. Thank you.